to Cooking with Master Chef Christy. With my assistant Hannah today, I am going to be teaching you how to cook a fantastic meal. It's quick and very easy. However, you will need several ingredients and lots of concentration in order to make spaghetti and garlic bread. So let's get started. The ingredients we will need include spaghetti noodles, 3 cups of diced tomatoes, butter, 1 can of tomato paste, garlic, oregano, beef, and French bread. Cooking tools necessary are a saucepan, a frying pan, a stove, an oven, a spatula, and a stirring spoon. So let's begin. We're going to start to brown the beef. Turn on the stove and place a pan to heat up. Once it is starting to heat up, you want to break up the ground beef into a very hot pan and sear until it is brown entirely. It's crumbling. Now you sear it until it is brown, while occasionally stirring. Now you have to wash your hands. To season up the beef a little bit, you can add some salt and pepper and a little garlic salt. And stir it slowly. And you can turn it up a little bit in order for it to cook faster. Now I can begin with the sauce. In order to open the cans, you need a can opener. First, we will open the can of diced tomatoes. Now you'll take the lid off over the sink so it doesn't spill. And now we will pour it into the saucepan. And you can turn the stove on to low and continue to stir the beef. And you can also stir the diced tomatoes. Now we need to open the tomato paste. Hold this carefully. Oh. Now remove the lid. Now you can get a little tablespoon and pour the sauce into the pan. Now you can stir this all together. Now we can begin to boil the water for the spaghetti noodles. Take a big pan as such and fill it 3/4 of the way with water. Because the pan is so big, put it on the biggest burner, making sure it doesn't hit the other pans, and turn it to medium.
Now that the beef is brown completely, you can add it to the tomato paste in the tomato dicing. This is heavy.
Now we can stir it all together. Now, this is an optional step, but you can add the herb. In order to do that, we need to wash and pat dry the oregano. Just softly pat it. When you think that it is dry enough, you can add it to the sauce by breaking it up and sprinkling it around the pan. You take your spoon and you stir this together as well.
So once you have completely stirred all the sauce together, you want to occasionally stir it, but you want to put a lid over the sauce and let it simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes. But be careful not to accidentally bump into the metal, because metal is a conductor and it will be very, very hot. Or shall I say, it will have enthalpy, because Hess's law made use of the process being a state function, as it only mattered where it started and stopped.
Now that we are done with this pan, we can put it in the dishes and have your parents do it. Now to start the garlic bread, we have to first chop the garlic. Now we only need a little bit, so just cut off a piece of the garlic. And now peel the skin off. Peel the skin off, you cut it up into little pieces. First, cut the ends off. Just a little sliver. Just cut little thin pieces. Make sure the knife is away from your fingers so your mom doesn't have to take you to the ER. Christy, can you stir the sauce, please? You can also turn the sauce down so it's at a slow simmer.
Hannah, do you smell that delicious sauce?
I'm so excited for this meal.
I wish all you could smell this. It smells so good. I'm excited.
So am I. This is such a nice meal to make at home.
Ow! I just touched the metal.
You mean the enthalpy? Oh no! You have to be careful because that enthalpy can sure hurt. Now it's time to make the garlic bread. First you want to preheat the oven so the temperature, or the measurement of movement in an object, because the movement measured is of the average kinetic energy, and this is called thermal energy. An electric oven uses large coiled wires inside that heat up to cook the food. They heat up when electricity is sent to them. The dial in the oven controls an internal thermostat, and when you turn it up to set the temperature, the wire sends signals to the thermostat to turn on and off based on the temperature inside the oven. The wires move, and the faster they rotate, the more thermal energy is produced, which means that the measurement or temperature increases as more heat is produced. Movement of these wires are measured as the frequency of the rotation produce a heat, therefore presenting the oven with the designated temperature and making the appliance capable of maintaining the same measurement of kinetic energy until the dial is turned off and the coils cease their movement. So let's preheat the oven to 325. Once the garlic is cut up into tiny pieces, Okay. You can take 3/4 of your butter and put it into a small saucepan and slowly melt it. And when it is melted, you can add garlics with it to make the sauce for the garlic bread. Once the butter is melted, you can take the garlic, slowly scrape it into the pan. Now you can slowly stir the butter and garlic together. For extra flavoring, Christy here will add a little salt to the garlic sauce. Now you can stir that all together one more time and let it simmer for a little while.
Now it's time to take the baguette. Oh, you have to remove the baguette from the thing and place it on the cutting board. Hannah, would you like to help me?
Of course, Christy.
Since not many of us are eating this, you only want to use half. So Hannah, cut it in half.
Now that you have your half baguette, you take the knife and cut across diagonally. Now you want to take the garlic and butter spread and this brush.
See the butter, how it's
melted. And take this brush and spread butter and garlic onto the bread
evenly.
If this takes too long, you can lightly pour the spread generously. Now we combine the pieces of bread together and wrap it in foil. Make sure the ends are closed. Because this only takes 10 minutes to cook, you can set it aside until the noodles are cooking. Now that the water is boiling, we can put the noodles on.
So while the water is boiling, keep in mind that the specific heat of water is 4,186 joules. So be patient and wait until the water is fully boiled before you add the noodles.
Now that the water is boiled, you can break the noodles and add them to the pan. And slowly stir.
However, also keep in mind the possibility of evaporation and phase change. If the right amount of latent heat is applied, the water liquid can change into a state of gas. With that in mind, and while the water is slowly boiling up, Hannah here already added the spaghetti noodles. So, now it's time to put the baguette in the oven. Carefully open the oven in case it's hot. From, the heat, because it's at 325 degrees Fahrenheit. Place it carefully in there, not to burn your hands. Now shut it. This would be endothermic rather than exothermic. So Hannah, will you mind to explain those terms in case our viewers don't understand?
I would love to. An endothermic reaction takes on heat, while an exothermic gives off heat. So while the bread needs heat to cook, to bake and rise, it's endothermic. While we wait for the garlic bread to finish, we will remove the noodles being boiled in the saucepan. They have experienced thermal expansion, which is when objects heat, they expand, move around more, and take up more volume. You will lift the saucepan off the stove and carefully pour all the water into the sink until it is gone.
So the next step, we have to strain out the noodles, and according to the second law of thermodynamics, this process will increase the entropy or disorder in the room.
Now the bread is done, so we can take it out of the oven.
Be careful, it's very hot. Now that we have unfolded the garlic bread, it is time to slice it into smaller pieces.
This is a spontaneous process in which physical or chemical changes occur by themselves. This is spontaneous because the bread is cooling down. Now if you want, you can sprinkle Parmesan cheese over your meal.
A little or a lot?
You know, it's up to the person, but maybe just a little.
Okay.
Now you can take garlic bread.
Now you have yourself a spaghetti dinner with garlic bread on the side. This meal supplies you with an efficient amount of energy, seeing as the first law of thermodynamics and calorimetry offer us an understanding that the food calories will be converted into other forms energy. However, no need to fret. You can easily burn off these calories, as the law states that when you do work on an object, it does work back. A delicious and beneficial meal. How rewarding. So Hannah, would you like to try it?
Why, of course.
How does it taste?
Delicious. Thank you for watching Cooking with Master Chef Christy. I hope you and your family will enjoy this dish.
Please tune in for next week's episode, where we will be teaching you how to make delicious desserts.
Delicious.
We did a really good job, Hannah.
I think this deserves, what, 5 extra credit points?
10?
Oh, maybe even 20.
Let's celebrate.
Drink up. Don't worry, it's sparkling cider. You can't give us too early. Say goodbye, Christy.
Ooh.